check. Well, good evening, everybody. I sure hope everybody had a great week. Well, since the last time we met, anyway. Let's see how we doing on audio here. Looks like we got audio from the microphone. So if you can hear me and everything's good, be sure and give me a shout out over there in the chat window and let me know where you're watching from tonight and who is watching. That's always helpful. Thank you, Ranger Rat. I am good. Well, maybe the audio and the video is. That's probably all that's good about me. Anyway. So just a quick update here before we get started. Had a little health scare this last week. Good evening, Sue Kelly. Thanks for coming aboard. And the doctor invited me to get a lung scan. And it turned out fine. Nothing wrong there. But I do have this little thing on my hand, and you're probably not going to be able to see it, but there's this little thing right here that's going to have to be removed. They're not sure what it is. It's suspicious looking, and so I'm going to go have it removed on Thursday. Snowy Arkansas. Hello, Aaron. Snowy in Arkansas. Larry. You guys don't know from snow. You get a few flakes, that's it. Oh, well. I was talking to my dad the other day, as a matter of fact. Larry is in Arkansas. He's in northern Arkansas. And my dad and my brother live out there. So, nice to have you aboard with us tonight, Larry. And Aaron, of course, welcome aboard. Julie Gage, audio's good. Julie, who was in Vegas, now in Bonita, California. Okay, so Julie, you must be full-time in it, huh? Finding Fergie, hi. Let's see, Randy. Hi, Randy. How are you feeling? I hope you're well, and I hope your house project's going along. It's been really, well, it's been spring here, I'll say that. We had a very beautiful day on Sunday, ended up playing golf. Yesterday it was cold and rainy. Today was chilly. I was out trying to pressure wash my fence, getting some things ready for spring around here. Also shot quite a bit of video the last couple of days. I think you've heard, if you've been on the live streams or following my channel for a while, that I do have plans to sell my RV. And so I've been working on that. I've run into a problem, though, in that I was going to vinyl wrap the cowling at the top. So you get to the top of the wall, then there's a little kind of cowling return that goes over to the top of the roof. And I was going to vinyl wrap that, and so I ordered some vinyl wrap 2 months ago, and still waiting. I finally reached out. Well, I'd reached out 2 or 3 times. Oh, it's back ordered. It's on the way. It's back ordered. It's on the way. And well, Now I just found out that it's back ordered forever. Well, they don't know when they're going to get it. So I'm going to have to regroup on that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a little piece of the cover of the backup camera on the back of the RV. Has a cover that's removable that has the color I want on it. So I'm going to go take that to the paint shop and get one of those pre-mixed cans. Now if you go to like a good automotive paint shop, they can mix a color and put it in a spray can for you, just like a can of regular spray paint. It's going to cost significantly more, but that's what I'm going to do, is go and get that taken care of tomorrow, because that's the last little bit of work I wanted to do on my RV before I get it listed. Again, I've been watching RV Trader, and boy, the price of RVs is way high. I'm just surprised as can be. I still haven't quite decided what I'm going to ask for the RV, but it's probably going to be around 60 to 65. But I've been doing some video on it. I had many requests from viewers that want me to track and record the sales process, and so I've been working on that, and so I'm excited to be able to share that with you. It'll probably be 3 or 4 weeks though before I get around to that. As some of you know that are regular watchers, I kind of stumbled into some work. I'm supposed to be retired, and but I stumbled into some work, and I ended up having to edit over 400 minutes of video, and I'm still editing on it in the last 2 weeks, and that's quite a bit of work. The rule of thumb that I like to use, it takes about an hour per minute of video, like on a how-to video like you see me do on the channel. There's a lot of editing that goes into those, so those are a lot more complex. These are interviews, so these are people being interviewed, and so those actually work out pretty good because you can edit them pretty fast, but it still takes quite a bit of time. Plus you have to watch all the audio and video to be able to pick up get the detail and make sure that it makes sense and it looks good. So we had a few more people popping in there. Looks like Finding Fergie thinks the audio is looking good. Okay, getting your projects ready to go out at the acreage. Thanks. Let's see here. Oh, hi, Campgoer 1, Linda. I hope you're well. Hope you solved some of your problems. Did you get your propane problem fixed? Sue Kelly, there's Campgoer 1, yeah. And Victor Murray. Hi, Victor. Welcome. Yeah, they can't keep RV and travel trailers on the lot, selling faster than they can get them. An old radio buddy of mine, and again, I hate to say this, but if you followed the channel for a while, you know I spent many years in radio. I've got a face made for radio, I used to say. But anyway, a buddy of mine that I worked with in radio, gosh, clear back in the 80s, kind of dating myself here, but he sells RVs part-time, and that's what he's been saying is they just can't keep them on the lot. They're just flying off the lots right now. But let's see here. Aaron, if you see someone here that you don't know, take a moment over to their channel. Yeah, watch a video, leave a comment, become their friend. They just might do the same. For sure, Aaron, that's a good point. A lot of the folks that are in here, I know Linda, Campgoer 1, she has her own channel. I invite you to go out and check that out. Aaron has a great channel as well. He's done quite a bit of RV how-to stuff on his rig, and he's retired in camp hosting, if you're new to the channel. So and Aaron and I have I don't know, we've been watching each other's channels for quite a while now. I tried to figure this out last week and I couldn't remember, so I went back and looked, and it's been at least 4 years that I can think of. So anyway, Aaron's got some good content out there. Randy, his channel is Aaron Jemison. So you can just search on Aaron Jemison and his channel will show up. Okay, so I did have some questions come in. Let me get over here and get to that. I'm running a little late tonight. I was out and about, and I just barely made it back in. But let me get over here to where I can get to my questions. comments, I should say. Let me turn this off. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see here. Let me pop in here real quick, and let's see. I've got to do this. I'm working on getting a switcher, an automatic switching thing for this, so I don't have to keep doing this back and forth noise. Let me pull this over here. So I've had this question come in a couple times, and so I thought I'd take just a moment and maybe do a little bit of clarification from Joe Don Baker. Now, I don't know if this is the Joe Don Baker of Walking Tall fame, but, I'd like to think it was, because, man, that was a great movie. But he has a question here. He says he's having a hard time getting the borax to dissolve. Now, we're talking about my BioGeo method, or my maintenance, or my way to maintain your RV's holding tanks. And that video, gosh, I don't know, it's had 600,000 views or something like that, and probably close on to 2,000 comments. But he says that he'd been having a hard time getting the borax to dissolve. He puts it in a bucket and stirs, but after I dump it into the bucket, into my toilet, there's still borax at the bottom of the bucket. It almost looks like ice when I chip it out of the bucket. Any ideas? And I said, yes. Have you tried stirring the water in the bucket while you add the borax? That's really important, because the borax, if you just dump it in all in one bolus, one big dump, it's definitely going to clump together. So basically, what I usually do is I just mix it in the toilet bowl. I'll run the toilet full of water, or almost full of water, and then add the Dawn and then my borax, and then I stir it with the toilet brush while I'm adding it. And then it's important to note that all of the borax probably won't dissolve in the water. There's going to be a few granules left, but they'll act like time release. So when they sit in the tank, they're going to go ahead and dissolve. But the big clumps in the water is not what you want to see. So you want to be cautious about dumping a whole, a cup full or half a cup full or whatever it is that you're using to treat your holding tank, and make sure that you get it mixed nice and well. The other question that comes up quite a bit is, should I leave the solution in my tanks while it's parked? In a cold climate during the winter, never keep any water in any of your holding tanks. Not your freshwater tank, nor your black or your gray tank, because the problem is they could freeze. It could freeze, and it could bust the drain lines and the valves, and so you don't ever want to do that. However, in the summer, it's okay, particularly if you have a really rank holding tank. What I mean by that is that if you bought like an older RV, and this is common, you buy an older RV and you inherit all the old problems that somebody else had. And so I get a lot of comments into how to clean it up, how to make it work well. And essentially what you want to do is just soak it. It's particularly handy if you can put it, if it's in your driveway or your house, you can just add the solution, the borax and the Dawn, to the black tank, and or the borax and the orange cleaner. By the way, Zep works really well. In the gray tank. Fill them up full, and then just let them set for the week. Now stick your head in the RV a couple times during the week, and if it started smelling again, go ahead and just add a little bit more borax, and that smell will go away instantly. So that was one question that came up this past week. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So hot water help. Yes, hot water will help dissolve the borax. You can mix it with hot water. And in fact, I think in the video, if you watch the video carefully, you see me mixing it in a 2 or a 4 cup mixing cup, and then putting it in the toilet. But excuse me, I just decided to cut that step out. Just a minute here. I need to mute for just a moment here while I clear my throat. Yes, hot water will help. We use hot water, slow stir, works amazing. Yep, it works great. Yeah, and I know that Linda, Camp Gore One, she gave me a shout out, which is greatly appreciated, Linda. Thank you. A couple weeks ago in one of her videos, and yeah, it's amazing. You know, just a little bit more borax if the tank is smelling, and you're good to go. By the way, I use borax, but I know that Aaron uses Calgon, and that works well, as does OxyClean. The only difference is the OxyClean uses something called has the chemistry is called sodium perchlorate, and so it does the same thing. It generates hydrogen peroxide. Just the intermediate chemistry is a little bit different. Calgon, also the chemistry is a little bit different, but they all end up with the same result. They generate oxygen, which whitens and brightens, and that's why back in the day when 20 mule team borax in your laundry not only softened the water, but it will make your whites stay white. It takes the grayness out of your whites, like OxyClean does, like Calgon does. So any one of those three works great. Also, I'll mention that Zep works really good. The orange cleaner works really good, and shoot, there was another one, Simple Purple or Simple Green. Either one of those three work just fine in place of the orange cleaner, because I know in California you can't buy the orange cleaner. There's something in it that California doesn't want in California, so they won't let you buy the orange cleaner. But the Zep works great. Simple Green, Simple Purple works as well. Campgoer One says she uses a plastic kitty litter container. Fill it and shake, 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 and it's dissolved. There you go. That's a good idea. Oh yeah, and as I mentioned, borax in the laundry. Oh hey, I want to. I'm going to give a shout out to a channel I ran across here last week. I'm a build nerd. I freely admit it. I love watching the van builds, the bus builds, those sorts of things. More the bus than the vans. The van builds are kind of okay, but I really like watching the guys go in and gut and clear out and clean up and do a bus build and turning it into an RV. And the C&S Schooly Project, Chris, and I don't remember what the S is. I haven't watched enough of your videos, but he just finished painting his rig with sort of a gray, and it looked like that armor coating, like that bed liner that you would put in a pickup, only this was gray. And man, it turned out looking great. So if you're into that kind of stuff, I invite you to go over and check out the C&S Schooly Project. He's just getting started. Looks like there's lots of content still to come. And just go out and check out their channel and give them a subscribe. They're new to YouTube. They only have, well, last time I looked was under 100 subscribers. So let's see if we can go get them a few new subscribers. Campgoer One, oxygen clean in hot water is great to get rid of mold in an older RV. Yeah, for sure. If you replace the vent cover, it can also help keep the smells out. That's true, yes. Hi, Carl Jones. Welcome aboard. Glad to see you're here tonight. Not purple power. Do not buy watered down purple power. Yes, Sue. You want simple purple or simple green. And get the concentrates, okay? You want the concentrated cleaner. Oh, thanks, CNS. Yeah, it's Raptor Liner is what he sprayed his bus with. And it turned out great. It looks really, really good. And it looked like it hides a lot of sins. And what I call sins are just, those little things in the underlying paint job or whatever that you just couldn't get out. It hides a lot of sins, and that's a good thing. Thanks, Aaron, for going out and grabbing that link for their channel. Appreciate that. So if you want to give CNS Schooly a quick look, Aaron has gone and picked up their YouTube channel link, and it's in the live chat window over there. Hi, Jim. Great to have you aboard. Hope the weather's improved up there. The last time I talked to you, going to get your wife's snow tires put back on. Okay, 123 primer and oil paint from Home Depot in the can. Brushed it on. Okay, was it on the outside? Camp goer, that was the outside. I'm trying to color match, and so that's kind of why I'm going around and doing and picking up. I'm gonna go have the color matched, and there will be a video on that coming here very soon because that'll be one of the first things. I did some other body work, had a couple do little things inside, and then mainly I've been cleaning. I probably don't really need to get it as clean as I have, but I've gone and I have cleaned that thing. It is super clean, and I hope that helps. Hope it helps it sell. I don't think I'm going to have any trouble selling it. I really don't. Mostly because I've been looking at other Dutch stars, and there's just nothing on the West Coast right now. It's amazing that in the whole of the nation for 03, 04, 05 Newmar Dutch stars, the last time I looked, which was last Tuesday or Wednesday, there were 12 for sale in the whole of the nation. And 2 years ago when I looked just out of curiosity, trying to get an idea about what it might be worth, there were about 25. But none in the West, where I'm at. Okay, so let's see. All right. Okay, there's Aaron has put a link to his channel also in the chat window. Thanks, Aaron. His is Three Tails RV. Is his channel, but you can find it if you search for Aaron Jameson. Fergie, they said they got it at Amazon. They got the Raptor liner from Amazon. It's clean. It's like $8, $9 at Walmart, about $12 in the AutoZones and such. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, used on the white body and the gray trim, black on the back bumper, very shiny, water beads off of it. Nice. Yeah, good. Alrighty, let's see here. Weather is up and down in Winnipeg. 35 high for the last couple days. Brr. 65 on Thursday, then cool for the weekend again. Yeah, that's what they're calling for us here. Okay, so if you have questions or comments specific to RVing, go ahead and ask them over in the live chat window. I'm happy to answer your comments and questions. I did have another comment here that I wanted to share with you tonight. So, and this one I think is is typical of the comments that I get, and I sort of alluded to this just a minute ago. But let me get over here to where I can actually switch this over for you, and I'll share this comment with you because I think this one I get a ton, and I think it's good. I think we could probably talk about this for just a minute. And this comment came in a couple days ago from Mike Larson. Thanks so much for this great video. That's in response to my easily get rid of black tape stills in your RV. Wife and I just bought our very first RV 3 days ago. It's a 27-foot Class C motorhome, and we need all the help we can get. Well, that's why we're here, is to give you guys help in any way we can. So their RV is a 1993. It's rather old. Well, I'm a 1960 model, so I'm a little older, like a lot of your viewers. He'd love to get a fresh start and do a super flush on all three tanks. What would you recommend for doing this? Well, I say, of course, you're welcome to super flush, dump the black and gray tank, fill them full of fresh water. And in this particular case, we're going to be soaking it over the weekend, or over a week. Add 1 cup of Boraxo, 1 cup of Dawn. Make sure to mix them well in the toilet, or as has been mentioned in the chat window, Camp Goer 1 uses an empty litter bottle, litter jug, cat litter jug. I mix mine in the toilet. You can mix it with hot water. And that will help the borax dissolve a little bit. And then throw it in there and let it sit for at least a week. And like I mentioned, if it's starting to smell during the week, just add a little bit more borax, because it might start to smell, particularly in a rig that's that old, because it's probably really crusty and there's probably lots of really hard poo and paper stuck to the walls and on the floor, and that's what's going to make them stink. So then let it soak for a week. That'll soften up all the crud in the tank, and then dump and flush per the instructions in the video. For the gray tank, it's the 2 cups of orange cleaner. The Zep works good. a cup of borax, let it soak for a week. Now for the freshwater tank, you want to sanitize that, and it's good to sanitize every spring before you go out and start going for the year. So I just want to mention that I do have an article over on my website at trbolin.com, and on how to sanitize a fresh RV or RV freshwater tank. So as you can see, this is really a short article, but I think the two salient points that I think is important is that the bleach to water mixture. You want to have 1/4 cup of standard household bleach for every 16 gallons of capacity. So I showed you how to do the math here. And then, of course, I give step-by-step instructions. Now, something that I've been promising for quite a while, and let me see if I can jump over here real quick and get to this post. While that's coming up, I'll pop back over here, and we'll do this so you don't have to watch me flail around, and then let me do this. Okay, so we'll wait for this to pop up here real quick, and then I do have this post ready to go, and that is the spring RV startup and maintenance, something I've been promising. I also have, come on, there we go. So this article is basically done, and it is a step-by-step checklist of things you should do to your RV to de-winterize, if it was winterized, or just general spring startup stuff. And so we're talking about our freshwater systems, checking for leaks. The pump leak test, I think, is probably really valuable, and that is to fill the tank and the water lines with some fresh water, and then turn the pump, leave your pump on, and then close all of the faucets and everything, and make sure the pump is cycling. Make sure the pump is not cycling. If the pump is cycling, then you have a leak somewhere, and you need to go and find it and get it taken care of. You can't use your street water or your house water the same way to check for leaks, because what happens is that if there's even a little itty bitty leak, the pressure in the water lines is going to go down enough that the pump's going to cycle. It's going to cycle along to bring the pressure back up. And then it might be a very tiny leak, and it might leak, and then all of a sudden the pump will cycle again. You can't really do that with the your potable water, either from a water hose or whatever the case is, because you don't know that the pressure has changed or it's leaking out. So the best way to check it, and the fastest way, is to do it with your water pump on your RV. Spinning through real quick, we want to sanitize the freshwater tank, gray water tank, and maintenance stuff. I'll go through and talk about the electrical system, maintaining your chassis batteries, maintaining your house batteries, checking your generators, cleaning and checking your propane tank and connections. Lots of inside maintenance items. Want to give your gaskets and seals a good coating of silicone. Silicone only. Do not use WD-40 on your gaskets and seals. Use good quality silicone only. I like the CRC silicone, available from my Amazon store. Links in the description below. Your support is greatly appreciated. Then we'll talk about your locks, latches, and sliders. Talk about maintaining your air conditioning, your furnace, the fridge. Be sure and check those tires. Again, if your tires are older than 5 years, replace them. Do not run tires older than 6 years old. You will have trouble. Other exterior maintenance things, like hitting your jacks with dry lubricant, wiping down the tubes if you have hydraulic jacks. Check your roof. Make sure that all the caulking and everything on the roof looks good. Here's an example of what my roof looked like in 2018 when I replaced it. you can see here that I have a heck of a problem going on right here, which is one of the reasons why I replaced the roof. And then, of course, if you have a rolling chassis, you want to check, all the belts and hoses for signs of wear and tear. Check your oil and filters. Go for a ride, those sorts of things. But the thing is that I'll mention here real quick. You might have noticed last week, but if you'll notice this week, I got my green screen out, and so I've done 2/3 of the recording that I needed to do to put the video together, and I should have it finished. Well, I'll have it finished this week, and then I'll share with you the video next week. Alrighty, so let's go through here and look at our comments real quick. All right, thumbs up. Yeah, everyone in the house, but only 5 likes. Yeah, that's okay. Excellent. Oh yeah, good. So we're getting some cross subscriptions there. That's awesome. Oh, there you go. CNS Schooly's picking up a few. That's great. You won't see it on my page till 8 o'clock tonight, Aaron. It doesn't officially post for 30 more minutes. All right, let's see here. Alrighty. Camp Goer 1. I haven't filled my fresh water yet, but emptied out the water, and the people had before me. Yeah, that water, if you leave it in that holding tank, the fresh water tank, it can get to tasting pretty stale. There can actually get to be mold, mildew, and even some other bacteria. It's probably not going to cause you any problems. You're not going to get sick from it, but it's sure going to make the water taste like hell. So that's why I say it's really important to take a few minutes and sanitize that freshwater tank. Yeah, they say Founding Fergie found 5 leaks using the water pump cycling method. Yep, that's the only true way to figure it out. Well, again, you could do it on on your potable water, your house, the water that comes in through your water hose. It's a hell of a lot more work because you got to find every connection in that water line. Some of them you'd have to pull out drawers to look in behind drawers and that kind of stuff. And it's a huge pain in the butt. Camp Goer 1, please go over to my website at trbolin.com, and you can look at the sanitization article. I'm going to grab a link here real quick, and I'll throw that in the chat. And just follow that. It's really pretty straightforward. There's not a lot to it. It's really actually quite easy. Let me grab this, and then I'll come over here, and let's do that. Whoops, that's not what I want. I got the wrong one. Sorry, folks. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. Aaron is way ahead of me. Thanks, Aaron. He's Johnny on the spot. That's why I appreciate him coming on and becoming a moderator for me. No, I did not use Henry's Tropical or CNS. I actually replaced the roof. I went right to the sheathing and replaced the sheathing, and then put on brand new EDPM roofing, and the whole thing. There's videos on my channel. There's 4 individual videos that show you the step-by-step, and then there is a 5th summary video that shows all of it with a lot less detail. One of the things that I've really wanted to do when I started doing my RV how-to videos was give you all the details you needed. You'll hear me mention this many times in the chat line, or on the live stream, is that irv2.com is a great resource to find information out about your rig. Particularly the owners forums I find to be very helpful, but a lot of times the people will give you instructions on how to fix something or do something, and I'll be damned if they don't leave out the most important piece of the instruction. And when I first started working on my Class A back in 2012, I got really upset at a couple of articles that were on there because, you would go through and work through it, and then the last couple critical steps they wouldn't talk about at all, and then you were kind of left to figure it out. And so when I started doing the RV how-to videos in 17, that was the last of my tolerance for these half-assed articles that I kept finding on the web. And that's why a lot of my how-to videos are very detailed and show you every step in a step-by-step manner, to make sure that, if you're going to try to do it yourself, you want to have good instructions. And so that's why I do my videos the way I do. Alrighty, so let's see here. Larry says, I had a rat get in my rig and he ate a line going to the bathtub. They must have built the camper around that tub. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Larry. Rats, mice, the chewing little buggers, they can do a lot of damage. And like you say, getting to some of those lines can be a huge pain in the butt to get them fixed. I had a rat in my rig last year, and I was living in it. This is up in Tucson, where I had to spend 2 extra months because of the coronavirus. And I got a rat in my rig, and I actually had to get one of those big-ass rat traps, one of those that looks like they're built on a 2x4, to get rid of him, but he chewed through some wiring. Fortunately, I found it, because I found bits of insulation laying in the bottom of the basement when I was cleaning things up, from the rat getting all the poop out of there. And fortunately, I found these bits of insulation, and so I was able to track that down real quick and find out. But I still have one little problem, and that's with my battery monitor. It's Bluetooth, so I still see the monitor, but the little monitor thing that sits up in the cab has quit working, and I had to pull it out and push it back into my battery compartment. That's on my list of things to fix here in the next couple of days, before I get ready to sell the rig. The Aaron wrote, commented back to CNS Schooly that he had used Henrys. Yes, the Henrys I have used on 2 different friends' RVs to seal up their roof, and it works really good. The Tropic Cool, I'm sure, will work just fine, but the Henrys that I know of is the Henrys Permanent Bright. What's the name of that? Hang on here, I'll tell you. Let's see, what is that one? I think they renamed it. I don't know that it's called Tropicool anymore, but don't quote me on that. Just a minute here. I'm looking it up for you. But the Henry stuff, it is the best. The only caveat I will tell you is just make sure your roof is really clean. So don't have any mold or mildew up there. Get up there and scrub it out with a bleach and water solution. Durabright is the one that replaced Tropicool. I believe it's called Durabright now. And that has a 70% light reflection quality in it. And so that means that it reflects 70% of the light that falls on it, which will greatly help keep your RV cool, especially in the summer. Oh, there you go. It looks like CNS Schooly used the Tropicool. He had about a 5-gallon bucket, and so if anybody's in East Tennessee, reach out to CNS and Schooly. He looks like he wants to set you up with some Tropicool if you're looking to redo your roof. Linda, I used Henry's before on the Toyota roof, and it peeled off after a couple years. Yeah, the TSP might have worked, but you really got to get that roof super clean to get it to stick. And also, if it's a metal roof, it's a good idea to abrade it. Use a little bit of sandpaper and give the surface a little bit of tooth. tooth meaning that you've roughed up the surface of the metal so that the coating has a place to stick to. And yes, it might have been too thick, but I don't know. Usually one coat is plenty. For James Dick, my gauge for all the holding tanks battery propane show full all the time. Does the unit need replacing, or is something on the unit I can check? Well, probably what it is that this generally doesn't apply to the propane, so you might have to replace your gauges. And I would recommend the Sealand 2 gauge, tank level gauges. Woobidoo. It's the one I put on mine because my gauge has actually quit working. And what's that? I think it's the Sea Level, SEELEVEL 2, and that is, sorry, I'm looking something up here because I have a post about that specific problem. But if you say that your propane gauge is also not working, then I would suspect that it's probably the actual display head that might be having trouble. So I do have an article on how to fix it when your holding tank monitor levels are not working. I'm going to share that one with you right now. That's over on my website. So the article I just posted there is to my website, and it will talk to you about how to fix those non-working holding tank sensors, if it's the sensors and the tanks. Okay, comment. Please remember that if you use rat poison to take out, yeah, I would never use poison to kill any kind of rat or mouse, because here's the problem. If you do, they'll get in and they'll get into a spot where you can't get to them, and then they stink for months. So I in my RV, I only use snap traps. I'll only use the I used to call them neck breakers. But yeah, the snap traps are the ones that I like to use. That way you've got the body that you can get rid of. But that's a good point there. Sue Kelly is I generally try not to use any kind of the poisons, because there's too many downstream problems that can happen. If you poison a mouse and your pet cat comes along and eats that dead mouse, then your pet cat just got poisoned. It can be very, very troublesome. Jim Bertan comments, didn't see a video on the rat exterminator. Maybe that is why you had the rattlesnake hanging around your Dutch Star. Well, that's a good point. If you'd like to, you can follow me over on social media. Instagram, it's tr.bolin. On Facebook, it's tr.bolin, photographer and naturalist. But I post somewhat regularly over on Instagram and Facebook. And Jim's referring to a picture I posted. This would have been last spring, where I had a rattlesnake in underneath the tire. The story goes like this. And while I'm telling the story, I'll see if I can multitask here and go find the picture. But anyway, I was getting ready to move. This is last spring, because in the spot I was at, I really didn't have any shade at all. And so I wanted to move over to a shady spot and get a little bit of shade. Well, unfortunately, I had a low tire, and I couldn't get it to fill. It needed some work. So I had called, and I got a tire guy to come out and to take a look at the tire. Let me pop this over here because I do have the picture up now. So if you look there real careful, that's a rattlesnake, and that's a snake stick that the RV park maintenance guy had. But what happened was that I had a guy in there, and he was it was the inside dual on the rear of my RV that had a slow leak, and so I had him come out and pull it off. He hadn't pulled that tire off for 10 seconds, and I look down, and this rattlesnake that you see here on this snake stick was laying right behind the tire. His hand couldn't have been 2-3 inches from this snake when he reached around to grab that tire and pull it off. So anyway, yeah, that's what Jim's referring to. Is yeah, I don't use mothballs in my RV either in the fall. Mothballs are too stinky. Okay, let's see here. Big difference in temperatures, especially since the bus is like a big tin can. Yeah, tell me about it, CNS. I spent, I started to tell the story as I was 2 months longer in Tucson last year than normal because of the coronavirus, because of the virus. And from about the 2nd of May till I left on the 25th, every day was over 100 degrees. My AC would turn on by about 9:30 in the morning, and it wouldn't turn off I don't know when. So, yeah, it was like living in an easy bake oven. Hi, Andrew. Wow, great to have you aboard. I was just thinking about you the other day. I actually went and watched the install video we did from your inverter. Okay, you'll be back up in August, September. Okay, great. I hope you're well. And are you still down in the Arizona area, or have you gone someplace a little cooler? Oh, Nikki and Mike, the next chapter. Yeah, we were going to go fishing last year, and the damn coronavirus blew up those plans, didn't they, Mike? But you come back up this way, and we'll get out and do some fishing. So you do use mothballs. Okay, Larry. Do they stink after you pull them out? I always was worried that those mothballs would cause it to stink. And some people believe that the mothballs help keep the rats and mice out. I've had mixed success with that in other RVs, which is kind of why I quit using them. That's pretty funny. Nikki and Mike, they say that I can smell a dead mouse a mile away. Yeah, I can't. Yep, Camper Van Kevin. I remember seeing that. Puppy had gotten into something. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember, Andrew. You had mice get into your furnace, and it took care of the mice, and also you had to replace the furnace. I remember that. That's pretty funny. Camp Gore 1. When I bought my Ford Eldorado, cleaned under the twin beds, and way back in the corner was a huge nest. How did the heck they get in so easily? I guess from underneath. Yeah, they say that a mouse can go through a hole the size of a quarter, which is that big. And so it's pretty amazing. I recommend that you spend some time, especially if you're going to be in mouse country, if you're going to be boondocking or dry camping at all. Spend some time, get underneath, and pack every hole that goes into the cabin, into the the living space, with stainless steel wool. Stainless steel wool. If you don't use stainless, it will rust and fall out, and then you're going to have a problem. But yeah, you can get stainless steel wool from Home Depot, Amazon, those sorts of places, and plug up any hole. The stainless steel works great because they won't chew through it. They won't chew through it because it cuts up their mouth. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, big scary snake. That was down in Tucson last spring. Alrighty here. Oh, you're in Palm Springs right now. Yeah, it's warm than Palm Springs, I'm sure. Andrew. Yeah, I think you're right, CNS. I would have had to change my underwear too if it would have been me that reached back there and grabbed that tire. Now, I will say this though. If I'm a tire changer and I'm in the Southwest like that and I come out to change a tire on an RV, I think I might have the presence of mind to look for snakes before I go put my hand underneath that rig or crawling around underneath there and those sorts of things. Just saying. That's me. Okay, good. Glad to hear that, Nikki and Mike. He says they sure did, and we'll be back next year for sure. Larry says my wife says they do, but would rather smell them than replace lines and wires. Yeah, they actually, the one thing that I've had good luck with is the rodent repellents that use peppermint and garlic. There's several available, and you don't put them on the inside, you spray it around the outside. So, with the rodent repellents, and in fact, I do have an article on that, as a matter of fact, over on my website about getting your RV ready to park for winter. And I talk about those things that work great, and the ones that use peppermint and garlic. And what you have to do is you have to walk around your rig and you spray a perimeter around the rig. It has to be redone about once a month, but those have worked pretty good for me. That also helps deter other things, but definitely the mice. Hi, Gary Boyd. Hope you are well as well. Yes, the steel wool works great. Oh, you got your rig in Tonopah. Irish Spring, yeah. I know, Aaron, that's another one that people say works is Irish Spring to keep mice out. I think that's poo-poo as well. I don't think it works. The only way I know how to keep the mice out is to physically keep them out by plugging up every hole. Now, I will say that that's not going to stop them if you have rolling chassis, if you have a Class A, B, or C. That's not going to keep them out of your engine. Keep them away from the wiring, chewing your wiring and stuff like that. What a lot of people will do, and this is particularly prominent for people who might be snowbirders, okay? People that go south for winter like I used to. Well, I used to live in my RV full time, but I always was south. And you'd see them that they would put a line of LEDs or lights around their rig. I found that to be fairly ineffective. I noticed a lot of them would put a bulb, some kind of a light bulb, either under the hood, something like that, to help keep mice out of the engines and stuff like that. Now, I have to say that I never really had any trouble with my engine, but as a part of my monthly maintenance, I would always go around and open up everything and look and make sure that I saw no signs of mice. And as soon as you see a sign of a mice, get yourself some snap traps and get them out of there, because they can cause a problem. I remember this would have been 3 years ago for the total solar eclipse. I had gone out to one of my favorite places called Birch Creek, which is full-on dry camping. You're out there in the middle of nowhere. Well, we were 2 miles off the center line of the eclipse. And when I left there and went to my next spot, I trapped out 6 mice. 6. I saw some signs around my campsite. What I saw was a couple of those sticky trap things. I'm sure you've seen them, the traps you let them down and the mice walk on them and stick to them and then they're stuck in place, I guess. I had saw a couple of those around, but I didn't pay any, I didn't think about it. But when I got over to the Juniper Campground, which is over on the Snake River, up around Heisey, Idaho, I had 6 mice, and I trapped 6 mice in my rig. There's nothing more disgusting than to go grab a piece of silverware and find a mouse turd in your silverware drawer, or in your silverware, divider thing. So, yeah, I hate mice. I mean, they all have their place in the environment, yes, but they got no place in my RV. Let's just leave it at that. Worried about snakes, about rig in Tonopah. Yeah, I've been going to the same RV park in Tucson for 4 years, and that's the first time I'd seen a rattlesnake. And I used to, it was right on the edge of the desert out there, and I used to walk out, into the Sonoran Desert all the time. I love the Sonoran Desert. Yeah, Gary, peppermint and garlic will help. That is good in Asian noodle salad too. It absolutely is. You're a character, Gary. Mothballs on the engine block and around the tires. Okay, there you go. So Larry is all about the mothballs. And I guess other than getting a rat in, Uh, I guess hopefully it keeps the mice out. Carl Jones comments, I've seen dozens of pictures of half-eaten bars of Irish Spring soap. That's pretty funny, Carl. How to keep Texas fire ants away from the rig. I hope to go to Texas at the end of October. Again, the only thing I know of that works really well, and I had this problem 2013. I was doing some contract work, and in fact, in 2013 was a crazy year for me because I had a contract in Virginia and I had a contract in San Diego, and I crossed the country 4 times back and forth from Virginia to San Diego, buying $4.50 diesel. There's nothing like putting $900 worth of diesel in your rig that'll make you sit down and take a deep breath. Anyway, I came home from work one afternoon and the ants had found me, and there was thousands and thousands of them, and I had, they found me, and man, they just took over. So long short story, the only way I could get rid of those ants was with the Bug Be Gone barrier spray from Ortho. It's that pre-mixed, comes in the jug, you spray it around your rig, and that will help keep the ants away. The barrier spray is the one you want. The thing about the ants is they'll come up your water hose, they'll come up your sewer hose. I read all of the tricks online how to, keep them out, was putting Vaseline on your water hose, on your sewer hose, those sorts of things is a barrier to stop them. But then you got that then you got that crap all over your hose, and you got to clean that up. So what I found worked best was that Ortho Bug Be Gone barrier spray. And you just go around the whole rig, spray around all the tires, everywhere that the rig touches the ground, hoses, tires, and I basically just sprayed a barrier around my whole RV, and that kept them out. I didn't have any trouble with it at that point, and that was in an RV park. I happened to be talking to the neighbor, and that was a particular problem in that park. Yeah, mice don't pay for the gas. Yeah, they don't pay rent. Yeah, the ant problem was bad in the summer in my kitchen. Yeah, I actually in my old house here, I had some ants in my kitchen here in the house. Last week I noticed there was a couple on the counter. So I went out with some barrier spray, and I put the barrier spray around the whole perimeter of my house. And that barrier spray does work, but you have to retreat about once a month. But it does work, and I hate to use chemicals and stuff like that, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Yeah, Mike and Nikki and Mike say, yeah, I do that, and try to keep my lines off the ground as best I can. That's a good point, Mike, is to keep those lines up. Another home remedy for that was Ajax or Comet. And people would spread that around their tires and that kind of stuff. And that stuff's pretty harsh, and I don't know that it really works all that well. Let's see here. Yep. Grits will kill them off? Huh. That's a southern thing, right? CNS Schooly says grits will kill them off. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to take your word for it. I don't happen to have any grits handy to test, but if that works for you, and that's the thing I've always said, I'm giving you things that work for me. If you already have something that works for you, keep using it. Why not? Residential house for years, no ortho spray. Yeah, for sure. The ortho spray works pretty good. Aaron says we towed and some geckos, hitchhikers coming out of Florida this past winter. Grits will kill an ant bed overnight. Well, I'll go to hell. You got me curious. I'm gonna have to look that up. Ants and grits. I, okay, we learned something today, and I'm going to research that and figure out why that works. Boondocking in the Navy, we use round stops on water and power lines. Yeah, that works too. But the physical barriers. What do they call that? There's the really sticky stuff. I forget what that's called, but I've seen that. But again, that stuff gets all over your hoses, and then you end up having to clean that up. Camp Gore One says I had a big bad tick problem in the past few years in Montana. Rocks in the yard where my dog's potty. I put bleach in a weed and feed bottle attached to the hose once a week for 3 weeks. No more ticks so far. Okay, interesting. Neil Richardson. A new face, a new name. Grits, the breakfast food. Sprinkle some dry grits around the anthill. The ants will eat the grits, drink some water, and then swell up and explode. Okay. Doesn't that happen to pigeons with rice after weddings? Isn't that why they ask people to quit using rice at weddings? It's because the birds would eat the rice and it would swell up and kill them. Neil says, you see the results in as little as 24 hours and entire anthills will be gone in days. Does that work with fire ants, Neil, CNS? Because them fire ants, they can be a real... Wow. Okay. So, it looks like they work. I'm surprised. But, great. Okay, so we're coming up on an hour, and I think we've had a really good session tonight. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. If you are liking it, give us that thumbs up. That's always great. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll be doing this every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time for the foreseeable future. But if there's any last-minute questions or comments you want to make, go ahead and throw them up there in the live chat window, and we'll run that over for just a minute. But we're going to wrap her up here because I haven't had dinner yet. I was busy working outside all day. I've been pressure washing the fence, getting it ready. I have to cry just a little bit about the cost of lumber. I bought 3 fence posts, 10 new 5-inch cedar fence pickets, 4 8-foot 2x4s, and was into it for $110. Man, the thing of it is that the lumber mills aren't getting the money. It's going to the people, the retailers and stuff. Well, that's not about RVing, so guess we better move on and wrap things up here. Grits. Okay, guys, you convinced me. Grits. Yes, Neil says it's perfect for fire ants. So there you go, Camp Gore One. Get yourself some grits, and that'll take care of your fire ants. Thanks, Nikki and Mike. Great to have you aboard, and looking forward to getting together and fishing with you one of these first days. Thanks, Neil. Appreciate it. Thanks, Jim. Have a safe weekend, everybody. Yes, you too, Jim. And try to stay warm. Keep all that snow and cold weather up there north in Winnipeg, okay? Thank you, Camp Gore One. Thanks, Linda. Live simple, live free, and enjoy the ride. See you next time. Yeah, that's a great one. Thanks, Aaron. The worker ants take the grits back to the queen. Yep, perfect. 180%. I looked at the lumber, Larry, the other just this morning. I look at the CME lumber futures. That's for 1,000-foot random lengths, white lumber. So that's pine, fir, poplar, that kind of stuff. It was $1,340 a thousand, which is 3 times what it was last year at this time. Yeah, lumber's out of this world. Apparently big shortage on sheetrock and mud of all things. Yeah. Well, apparently what happened was, they, of course, they had to shut down the mills because of the COVID. And that didn't stop construction and home improvement. So it ate up a lot of lumber. Fuel solenoid location on the Power Tech. Doing a fuel pump tomorrow. Rough starts. Not sure. You can go to PowerTech's website. They have a schematic of that, and I'm trying to remember. My guess is the fuel solenoid is backed by the fuel filter. But you can go to PowerTech's website. They have schematics online for that rig, and that should get you started. But I believe it's backed by the fuel filter. Don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I've been in there. Have a great week. Thanks, CNS. Appreciate you. Steve Linder, good stuff. Okay, thank you so much, Steve. Appreciate it. I'll have a malto meal in the morning and the ants get grits. I'm with you there, Camp Gorwan. I like the malto meal tool too. All right, that's it. Looks like we're good. Thanks so much, everybody. I greatly appreciate it. This has been awesome. It's fun. Next week, if the creeks don't rise, I'm going to get the final bit of video recorded and put together my spring maintenance dewinterization, and get that out to you folks and share it to you with you during this hour next week. And then the video will go live immediately after that. But what I'll do is I'll play the video for you during the stream, and then I'll set it so that it goes live immediately after the stream. So thanks, everybody. I greatly appreciate it. And until we get together next week, peace. Bye.